Episode number 36 with Darius Studdard. Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is Steve Barton.
And this is Mike Snyderman.
And we are bringing to you this week Darius Studdard. He's got came in second place last year in a Omaha event. So I'm excited about this. I haven't, my Omaha experience is very limited. It's probably limited to about maybe an hour and 5 minutes at the most. But you played a little bit of Omaha, right, Mike?
Not really.
No?
A little bit. Actually, I thought I had a great story. I min-cashed an Omaha tournament the other night, and I had like a big chip lead with 20-something to go, so I thought I'd have a perfect story to talk about here. But he cashed the main event, and he's a good poker player and active in the TPE community, and I think he'll be a good guest.
Yeah, I'm excited. I haven't played much Omaha. The first time I ever played it, it was probably a couple of years ago, and I accidentally registered for an Omaha tournament without realizing, thinking it was Hold'em. And as soon as I saw 4 cards, I'm like, oh god, I think I was out on the first level, if that's even possible, in a pot limit tournament. But it was not pretty. And
I actually played a bracelet event in Omaha this year. I don't think I told many people. I was kind of so embarrassed with how it happened.
What did you accidentally register?
I'm such a fish. No, I bought a piece of Darius's package, and was his WSOP package, and he had just arrived in town, and I was he was having breakfast there with some buddies, and I was going down there to give him my 1%, 200 something bucks, and I just sat down with these guys, and these guys were so jazzed to play the Omaha, and we're talking about Omaha. I'm like, shit, man, this sounds like fun.
Yeah,
that's the story.
How long did you last?
3 minutes later, I took $1,500 out of my pocket. And the funny thing is, I got a little 5-minute coaching session. Well, I've read a couple Omaha books. I was going in not totally ignorant. I mean, basically, the rule is you want 4 good cards, not 2.
Okay.
Most times you're going to go with, like, there's strong aces and there are weak aces. Like, the strong aces is 2 aces and then like 10-9 suited with it.
Okay.
Where the weak aces is ace and then like jack 3 off, kind of, you know what I mean? So
okay, yeah.
I sort of understood that, and the funny thing is I ran it up pretty. I think might have been a 1,500, so 7,500. I think I got in a 3-way all in with, I guess, not a strong hand. I remember tweeting about it and having some conversations, but basically just willing to gamble a little bit, and maybe in a spot I shouldn't have. But, I don't know anything about the game. So if you specifically, you got some hands, you have Omaha PLO hands you want to discuss today, I guess.
Yeah, I played, I think it was a day or two ago, I played just some little, it was like a $25 table or something at online of Omaha. And
okay, well, we'll wait till he gets on before we...
Yeah.
It
was like an hour's worth or so, and I wrote down a couple of hands because Hold'em Manager wouldn't even record them. I didn't even think about that when I fired it up.
Okay,
I'm like, how come it's not working? Oh yeah, Hold'em Manager.
So
Omaha.
How'd your camping trip go, by the way?
Oh, it was fun. We went up. Big Sur was booked. There's a neat campsite on the coast in California called Big Sur, and that was completely booked up. And so we went inland into the mountains and did some fishing and stuff. Oh, something interesting happened. We were walking down to a little fishing hole that we had hiked and gone swimming down in the river before, and I saw a bunch of trout down there. So I'm like, I'm going to get I love fishing. I love stream fishing especially. So I went down there, and I was almost to the fishing hole. Alejandro was right behind me, and I saw this guy and his girlfriend walking up the trail. And I said, hey, bro, what's up? And he looks up at me, and there's this look of complete relief on his face, and he's all, oh, thank God. And I'm like, yeah, you're almost to the top of the hill. It's just another 50 yards. And he's all, no, you don't understand. He's like, you're the first person we've seen in 48 hours. I was like, what? And he's all, yeah, we had to sleep out here. We got lost. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, are you thirsty? Do you want something to eat? And he said, yeah, I'm so dehydrated, and we've had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich between the two of us in the last 2 days. I'm like, oh man. So of course I bust out the homemade beef jerky. He was very happy with it, very delicious. And I gave him some water, and he said, which way's back to civilization, back to camp? And, when he saw me and I'm wearing my fishing vest and I've got a fishing pole, like he knew he was safe at that point, And, I said, well, it's just down this road. I said, I would walk you back, but you really can't fuck it up. I mean, it's a dirt road, and there's a couple little game trails, that the deer use off to the left and right, but just don't take those and stay on the road, and 3 miles later, you'll be there. And he said, how long did it take you? And I said, we walked about an hour. And he said, oh, okay, we can do that. And I said, where are you staying? And he told us the campsite, and I'm like, oh, that's where we're at. And he's like, oh, okay. And I said, why don't you guys go back, take a shower, have some dinner or something, come over to our campsite, and we'll have a few beers. And he said, no, we're out. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's all, we live in San Diego. He's all, we're packing up right now and we're leaving. I'm like, really? I'm like, why don't you take a shower and chill a little bit? I'd like to hear your story. And he's all, no, we're fucking out. He's like, you want some food? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's all, we got a cooler full of beer and a cooler full of food. You can have it if you want. And I'm like, no, just chill. And he's like, well, we're either throwing it away or you can take it. I'm like, okay, we'll take it. And, so we went down, did some fishing, didn't catch anything, and then came back, and I thought they would have chilled a little bit and then kind of relaxed and realized that they're still alive and they would have stuck around for another night. But no, we got there was 2 styrofoam coolers full of food and beer, just like he said, and they were out. And so they must have had to make, that was probably our drive was 4 hours, so theirs was probably 7 or 8. And, they were gone. That was, yeah, so that never happened to me before, but,
I thought you were going to say, thank God I have someone to play poker with. My wife's boring the shit out of me. When he saw you on the path. No.
What else has happened? Grinded, the last 2 Sundays have not been profitable, and, I think I've only cashed in 2, maybe 3 tournaments, and they weren't, I got 10th, last Sunday. And, man, so close. It made the night quite not so losing. I think I was only down like $100 or something, but, yeah, that first place was 1,700. It was like, almost. But, I did got a coaching session with Tony, later on this afternoon. Got one scheduled, with Mark for next week.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited. Things are going good. How about you?
Yeah, pretty good. I won a couple tournaments last week, or a couple small ones. One on Bovada and one on America's Card Room. I think one was for 17 and one was for 1,800.
Nice.
Last night I finaled an 8K on America's Card Room and I got 5th. So I'm used to getting these things, Steve. So, yeah. But anyways, I think I'm committed. I have really not been playing a lot of poker, but I think when I play, I'm committed to playing 6 or 8 tables and doing the smaller buy-ins and realize the importance of doing all that kind of stuff. And
volume, yeah.
I had, I guess it's been a few weeks ago. I had, I retired from cash games once again. I'll probably do it again in 3 months. I don't know if I gave you the details of that. How I won in, I lost a whole buy-in on my first hand and just walked out of there.
Wait, what?
I lost a whole buy-in at the Ocean's 11 casino on my first hand. $1,100 aces cracked the first hand.
Oh, shit. What happened?
I mean, I could tell the drama in a Shakespearean way that talks about what happened the previous night, how I had aces cracked twice, once I folded them properly, blah, blah, blah. But basically, I got in, and I started a TPE thread. It's how much do you have to fucking 3-bet aces to get people to fold? It's 25, 25, 25, and I made it 180, and got 3 callers.
Wow.
And it was King 7 deuce, and someone let out in the flop for 200, and I made it 450 or something. So at this point, then somebody shoved it all in there, and it was they could have nothing but a set.
Yeah.
But again, I gave a rambling speech, I a Nixon kind of drunk speech where I was just okay, this is it. He's got a fucking set. I don't give a shit. I'm not folding. I'm out of here. And of course, he had a set, bottom set, and
deuces.
Yeah, actually, it was a 4. It was a King 7-4, I think. He had a set of 4s.
Okay.
There might have been 2 diamonds on the board, so that was kind of, but it's funny, in a tournament, I'm well, I got half my chips in there, I got a call. But if I fold, I still got $500, which is 100 big blinds. And I mean, you're supposed to fold when you know you're beat. But, and then later that night, after getting drunk and coming back from a strip club with my roommate, he wanted to go there. I'm like, okay, fine. Because, that was funny. That after having the aces cracked, I immediately went to my car and took $5,500 in chips out there and just got all cash. I'm like, okay, I'm done playing cash.
Yeah.
I don't want chips in my car anymore.
Yeah.
But long story, I went there the other night, later that night, or I guess the next day, and I was down $4,000 in, because I write down the exact time I enter.
Yeah.
I put it in, like how much I buy and at what time, so I can keep the hourly.
Yeah.
And I got in there, and within 17 minutes, I was down $4,000.
Holy shit. Wow.
And anyway, I get the long story. I don't know if you remember the one, this was a while ago. We discussed this one guy who is, I don't know if he's Persian or what he's Arab or whatever, where I 3-bet with 10-7 and he shoved it all in. And I'm like, maybe I'm supposed to call any cards there. And he showed like 7 high or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story. This guy was just crazy. You have to adjust and I had aces cracked again. He had 6-4 on a 3-5-6, he had a lot of equity, but anyways, that was a few weeks ago, and I won it back playing tournaments. But God, if I could just stay away from cash, man.
Yeah, well, maybe not necessarily cash, but 5-5.
No, I mean, I still think. I mean, it's kind of funny when Assassinata was talking about how he's been running bad the last million hands.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second. Like, it didn't occur to me that you could. Like, I figured like 100,000 would be the most hands. Where everyone plays 100,000 hands, they all have pretty much the same results. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In terms of the strength of the hand and this holding up. And I mean, obviously not in terms of profitability. So when he said a million hands, I'm like, geez, I wonder if I've just been running really great in tournaments for this long. I mean, I've probably played, I was putting in my mind like 600,000 or 700,000 hands. I'm like, maybe the hammer's getting ready to drop here. And it's been all luck here that I've been profitable live and online. So it got me nervous. And, no, this 5-5 game is beatable, I guess is what I'm saying. It's just I've been running ridiculously bad there. I mean,
well, the one where you had aces, and like you said, the only thing the guy has there is a set.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, is he really doing that with ace king?
Probably not. Not after the action. No, I know that. I mean, that's bad. For some reason, I'm just like, yeah. I treat chips that aren't worth money. I treat more valuable than chips that are money. I guess I don't know. But no, I mean, I'm not going to play 2-3 there is what I'm saying. It's just I can't go there and make $15 an hour. I mean, it's just not beatable there at all.
Is the rake too high or?
Yeah, I mean, I played it. It's like $2 comes out of the pot regardless.
Yeah, that's kind of bad.
I mean, so I don't even know what the rake is. It's just, I've talked to every player. They're just like, if you're breaking even there, you're like a top player. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Anyways, it's not even on my radar. But the thing is, it's difficult with the tournaments is quickly. I was also thinking online tournaments. If my goal is, say, to make $80,000 this year, let's just assume I don't know what my ROI is going to be. I'm going to give myself credit for like between 30 and 40%.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, my ROI for this last year has been 60%, but I think I'm way over average. And like the year before, it was like 25 or 30. So we'll say I'm give myself credit. Say I've improved, and it's between 35 and 40%. So basically, I have to do like $200,000 in buy-ins online
to make $100,000. You mean
to make $80K? Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a lot of. I mean, think about that. That's $4,000 a week. And I have that's kind of the sweet spot for West Coast. I want to be like registering for tournaments between like 4 and 7. And if I have my son 3 nights a week, that's the time when I get to spend time with him. Obviously, You know what I mean? If it was during the day or after he goes to bed, East Coast. But anyways, basically still trying to figure out how to make a living playing poker. But yeah, for now it's going to be just trying to grind online. But like I have my son all week, so I'm not playing this week. And I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see what happens here. But I'm definitely kind of pumped about Bovada and America's Card Room.
Yeah.
But again, it's just. I wish they had I wish America's Card Rooms had definitely like an extra 4 or 5 good tournaments each night because there's just not that many of them.
Yeah, during the week, yeah. On Sundays you can fill up your screen pretty quick, but in any dead space I use throw in those turbos on demand. But during the week it's tougher. But you're on both sites, so that helps.
No, yeah, you can always fill the screen up, but yeah, just for like, yeah, no, I guess so. But if I want to start later, like 8 p.m.
Oh yeah.
There's just not like a lot of, that would be my ideal schedule. Like I sit down and fire up at 8 p.m. because I'm kind of a night owl anyways. If I got to stay up till 3 or 4 to ship a tournament, that's fine with me. But anyways, and I don't know what else is going on. I got a check from Carbon Poker. I don't know if I told you that.
Oh, no shit. You actually got one.
Yeah, so it took 14 and a half weeks, but
okay.
A few people on the 2+2 thread were reporting getting them in 8 weeks. So even if every 8 weeks I got a check, one of those checks covers my rent for 2 months.
Okay.
And a few other bills. So even that alone, I'm like, if you could just get down to every 8 weeks, I'd be pretty jazzed.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Then you don't have to pay rent. Well, I mean, you do, but that's covered.
No, I got you. And I got all the Bovada money off pretty quickly. So so you were right there. I just was being a little cynical, but so that's good. And I just booked myself a trip to Greece.
Okay. I didn't expect you to say that. Maybe I should expect that by now.
Well,
where are you going? That should be fun.
Yeah, well, and I think at some point I mentioned that was one of the places I always wanted to travel. And I was going to fly that Russian girl I met in Vegas out here. And she was really pushing Europe. And I'm like, God, it's got to be just so expensive. And I finally did my homework, and it's not too bad. Mm-hmm. It's like $1,900, I think, to fly to Greece for the flight and the hotel room on the island of Rhodes for 9 nights. So
really?
I'll have to. I'll spend an ass load of money there while I'm there. But anyways, you got to reward yourself for some profitability here. So I'm gonna go treat myself for a trip.
And when are you going?
I'm going end of September.
End of September, cool.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. And get to
Cool. I went to Greece once with a couple of buddies, and my friend I do the annual trip with, and one of the other guys from work, and we went to Athens, and we saw the what's it called, the Parthenon, or
right?
Pantheon, whatever. And went to Athens, and then we went to a little island called Ios. It's spelled I-O-S. That was pretty cool. Yeah, that was fun.
The Greek islands are supposed to be just all beautiful. I'm actually not even doing island hopping. I'm staying on this one island the whole time because there seems to be plenty to do. Okay. And it's kind of like like half of it's going to be just a beach vacation for me, anyways. The hotel I got is it's like a half block back from the beach. And the water's beautiful, and there's ancient ruins and old city and that kind of stuff. But
cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that, and
I want to go back, and I want to see Pompeii and that whole Mediterranean area. Maybe do like a month down in there. That'd be fun.
Right. You'll be sneaking on some Greek farmer's land to steal a goat just to have your own beef jerky for the.
Bring my dehydrator in the backpack.
You might, yeah. I was going to ask while you were in the woods, what did you eat? Did you eat bark sandwiches? I mean, how do you save money back there?
Oh, we were able to do the camping trip pretty cheap. The campsite was $110 for 4 nights, and then we bring all our own food. We didn't eat any food out while we were there, so we just bring a cooler full of food that we get from.
You didn't fillet any fish?
No, I didn't catch any. I thought I was just going to kill it, but it's probably good I didn't catch any, actually, because when I got back and the camp host saw me in my fishing vest and fishing pole, and he's like, "Were you fishing?" I'm like, "No, we're water skiing. What do you think?" And he's like, "Yeah, you can't fish back there." I'm like, "Really?" And he said, No, it's highly illegal. The fishing game comes by about once a week. It's a good thing they didn't see you." And I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad I didn't catch anything. That would have been bad. I guess I should have checked the local fishing regulations before I did that. But yeah, so that was a lesson learned. And then, of course, before we're walking out there, my wife is like, did you check and make sure we could fish here? I'm like, I got a fishing license. We're fine. No, we weren't. So that was a lesson learned. But no, didn't catch any fish, which is probably a good thing.
My son caught 2 fish yesterday at fishing camp.
Oh, cool. Cool. What kind of fish? Trout?
No, one was a bass. I forget what kind. And the other one was a mackerel.
Huh.
They took them deep. It's a fishing camp, and every day they take them someplace different.
That's cool.
And I bought him a couple, throwaway fish rags, and I bought him his own needle nose pliers.
Cool.
And so he's like, yeah, he's very excited for fishing. And I said he actually wants to go fishing this weekend too. And I guess I'm just not like an outdoorsman. I mean, what do you expect, Steve? I'm Jewish, but
You're Jewish? I didn't know that.
No, my idea of a good vacation is not in the woods. It's like 5-star hotel, just. But anyways, my son might become an outdoorsman, and I'll have to touch scaly fish. So that's
Yeah.
But he loves it, man. He's so excited today, and
Oh, good. I'll have to. Trying to think
if there's any other poker. Well, I still think you and I should. I got some tournaments coming up next month before I go to Greece. Like I said, I'm going to play some tournaments at the Commerce and the Bike. But that's the thing. That's the thing that kind of struck me is I was assuming I'd always be able to get backing from these people, from the people who backed me this summer, and I said, well, these are the tournaments I'm playing. I think I had like a $15,000 package. It was only 6 tournaments, but in every single one you could fire multiple bullets. Most of them were re-entries. And they said, sorry, we just don't have any money right now. So I was kind of like, oh. So all of a sudden, now that I'm in like true grinder mode where like, okay, I need to run deep in these $11 tournaments on Bovada, I'm like, do I really want to spend $3,700 to enter a WPT event at the Bike?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting how I've already switched. I'll probably play some live events there, but I was a little crushed by that. I mean, now I guess, like I said, I got very lucky in the first place to get the backing. So, I mean, like I said, there's even very good players who are just selling 1-2% at a time. So maybe if I got on Twitter and started hustling, I could, if I still want to play these events, I could sell pieces of myself. I don't know.
Yeah, I bet you could on Pocket Fives or something. And that's where you put it before, right? It was Pocket Fives?
Well, it was 2+2.
Or 2+2.
That I got the back. Yeah, I put something up on Pocket Fives, but didn't get anyone from there.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see if I decide to play some live events because it is the live poker. But I was going to seg into though. I still think you and I should maybe take a poker trip with one of these circuit events.
Yeah.
And go there for like. I mean, I guess I make my own schedule here. Your time off is a little more valuable. But I was thinking again. I think the Planet Hollywood one is in November. So that might be my next real poker trip. I might go there and, hopefully find a place to stay cheap, or hopefully they'll give me a good deal where it's not like a total waste of money to go to Vegas for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. I would like to do the Planet Hollywood one. That would be fun. And from Planet Hollywood, we're probably about an hour and a half from my house. I don't know. We'd probably be better off just splitting the hotel room.
Planet Hollywood is in Vegas? I thought you were farther from Vegas than that.
Oh, I was thinking of the one down in L.A. What's down in L.A.? There's the Hustler, Commerce, Bike, and...
No, yeah, the Planet Hollywood is... maybe there's a Planet Hollywood in L.A. too. I don't know.
No. There's 4 of them down in L.A. It's Commerce, the Bike, the Bicycle Casino, Hustler, and... Shit, there's one more. What the hell is it? I got the phone number saved on my phone and my favorites. Well, whatever it is. I was thinking it was that one. You're talking about the one in Vegas.
Yes, Planet Hollywood, Vegas, November 12th through November 23rd.
Okay.
Although the Bike has a series December 3rd through December 14th. So, yeah. I mean, but I wanted to take at least 2 or 3 cracks at winning like a player of the series thing just to get into that national championship thing. So.
Yeah. Yeah, if we go out to Vegas, we could stay at my brother's. He's got, I'm sure he won't mind. He's got 2 spare bedrooms upstairs as long as he doesn't have any other guests at that time. And, he's about, probably 15, 20 minutes from the place. So we'd be set.
And now maybe we can also tease, but we also have another great guest coming next week. Speaking of living arrangements.
Yes. Carlos Welch is coming back.
Right.
And he is completely mobile.
Yes.
Literally.
I'm really excited about this interview. Like he's up on Twitch and he's answering questions about the Knitmobile and what he does. And I almost don't want to listen because I want to like kind of just break, like just basic stuff about, like showering and sleep. Because when he said van, I don't know if you've got on Twitch, this is more like the minivan thing. I was thinking old style van. like the bus, like little simple stuff. Like there's no like curtains on the windows.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Just for like sleeping. You know what I mean?
Wow. Okay.
So that'll be interesting to me. With Carlos is always fun, but well, hopefully for those who are following here, on Twitch, he's like a homeless poker player. He's playing that up, of course, but it is interesting. Like if my parents found out I was living in a van, there would be like an immediate family intervention where they would try to get, you know what I mean? Like, okay, is he on drugs? Is the gambling knocked him on his ass? Is he having a psychotic breakdown? Like, I would probably end up arrested or institutionalized. But with Carlos, of course, it doesn't reek of desperation at all. It's just like it's like a logical extension of like we should have thought about this. This is the logical thing for him to do.
Yeah.
It's just strip life down to its most important thing, which is playing internet poker, obviously.
I want to. I haven't seen pictures of it. You've seen pictures of it?
Well, he was twitching from the thing. Yeah, he showed some pictures. I forget where he put those up. He put them on the Twitch. He was sharing pictures. When you do the screen sharing.
Ah, okay.
So, it's just like a normal kind of minivan kind of thing. Where I was like thinking it was like the old VW bus, where like even like a couple cabinets in the back, whatever.
Yeah.
More for living and traveling. No, but it looked to me like the soccer mom van. This is for taking kids to the. So I don't know. We'll have to ask him. Carlos is an interesting dude, man. So
he is. Never a dull moment. That's cool. Well, should we bring Darius on?
Please.
Okay, let's do it.
What's up, guys?
How's it going, Darius?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
Good.
I'm looking at your Skype photo, man. You deliberately used one where you look like T.O. there.
Oh man, yeah, I can't escape it, man. Hence the Twitter name and all of that. Everywhere I go, I guess I figure I might as well embrace it.
Do people ask you a lot if you're T.O.?
No.
I mean, I don't know if people legitimately. I don't think people legitimately think that I'm T.O. I mean, I've been told that I should utilize my likeness to him to, maybe go into clubs and get things for free and things like that. But it seems like particularly since I started playing poker, man, every game, every casino I've gone to, I've at least gotten it once or twice. It's pretty uncanny.
Right on.
Yeah, man.
Steve, what famous person do you look like?
I get a lot, not as much anymore, but when I was younger, I got a lot that I was Matt Damon.
Okay.
I remember the first time it happened, the strongest, I was in the mall with a friend. I was in high school, and this little girl, she was probably 7 or 8 years old, and she comes up to me, and she's just completely ecstatic, and she's like, "Can I have your autograph?" And I look at my friend, and then I sign this napkin or something. I give it back to her, and she's all, "Thank you!" And then she runs back to her parents. I'm like, "What the heck was that all about?" And she's all, "She thinks you're Matt Damon." I'm okay.
You gotta feel bad for these crack babies because they grow up with all sorts of problems you don't even think about. I was trying to think of some lame place kicker, rather than looking like T.O. You look like who the biggest wuss in the NFL is, but I was too slow to think of anything there. So
I don't know. Yeah, I'm looking at your Skype picture, Steve. I'm having trouble making out, Matt Damon from this, but
Yeah, that was my WSOP my day of glory, or I guess it was 2 days because I made half a second day of one of the $1,000 events.
Gotcha.
They take your picture, and then I'm like, "Oh, I got to get this." So.
Of course. Min Cash Barton will ultimately be fascinated by someone who has higher aspirations here.
Yes.
Talking to someone who made a deep run in the main event.
Yes, congrats.
Yeah, appreciate that, fellas. Appreciate that. I was, fortunate enough and blessed enough to make a little run there. It was a bit of a grind, but yeah, it was actually my first time playing it also, which was, pretty amazing. But, there are a lot of interesting hands, a lot of interesting spots in there. I'm sure we'll get into some of that as we go along.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was following your chip counts the whole time. It was like you were riding a tough stack for like days.
Yeah.
Like 40 to 50 big. Like normally it's like, 120 bigs and down. Like you were like, it's almost sounds like, you had to play really well to ride that stack for a long time. I think that's my view always when I never saw that ridiculous card rush where it's like, oh my God.
Well, actually, I mean, I did have one day where I did have a pretty good rush. I mean, day 1 and 2, I kind of just grinded away. I mean, you start off with the 30K. I think I ended day 1 with about 56K, which, it's the main event. It's a great structure. So I still had about 100 big blinds. So you're still pretty comfortable. Sure. But then, I ended day 2 with about 68K. So, I just increased my stack by, about 10K there. But yeah, it wasn't until day 3, where I really took a big jump. And I ended day 3. I think I went from 68K that day to, I think like about 5 and change, like 500 wow. and change, that I ended that day. And I had a great table draw, I mean, it's funny, like on breaks, I was talking with some of my buddies, guys who I consider to be better players, certainly better hold'em players than me. And they're talking about how shitty I can curse, right? That's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, talking about how shitty their table drawers are, and, they're not able to chip up. And, my table, I just felt like, I was able to just open, c-bet, take it down quite frequently. It was pretty amazing.
Wow.
Especially for day 3 of the main event.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, I looked out there. I mean, it got a little tougher as the day went along and people got eliminated. I got some tougher players, moved to my table, but yeah, so that was a really big day. And that was when the bubble burst and we made the money. And then those next, I ended up busting out in day 5. Day 4 was a bit of a struggle. And I actually went down from like the 500 I started with to like 350 to end day 4. And then day 5 I lasted like 1 level and I was out. So yeah.
What was your bust out hand? How many blinds you have? What happened?
Yeah, so my bust out hand, let me see. I had about 200K. The blinds were at 8K, 16K with a 2K ante. I had just lost a pretty significant, like a few hands prior to that, which, I mean, is like my semi bust out hand, you could say, because it kind of led to me being, in this position. But yeah, so I have 200K. It folds to me on the button. I have ace 3 off. I think it was ace of clubs, 3 of diamonds. I shove it, and I have Jake Cody on my left. Obviously, pretty well decorated, player, won EPTs and stuff. He had about 900K. He's in the small blind. And he reshoves.
That's never good.
Yeah, so immediately I know I'm fucked.
Yeah. You're like, I hope he has kings and my ace is live.
yeah. I mean, that's like, that's like the best case scenario. Right? But I mean, in most cases, yeah, he has a better ace or, something like that there. And that's what ended up happening. He has ace 10, I don't hit and I'm out. So that was my main
standard.
event.
Yeah, that's standard. Nothing.
Yeah.
Did you ever figure out if you tweeted that you were in the running for the last black man standing there? Did you win that or no?
Oh man, you know what? It's actually pretty sick because I busted out and I'm like semi tilted. I'm thinking about that hand. I'm thinking about some hands prior to that that maybe I could have played a little differently. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm out in the hallway just texting a couple of friends about the hands and stuff. So I make my way to the payout line probably about, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes after I bust. And there's this black dude standing behind me, because previously, like I think at the end of the previous day, I asked the ESPN guys, like, to hunt it down and figure out, all right, am I the last guy? And so he was giving me the count. I was like, 4, 3, and then there was 2 to end like the previous day. So there's 2 of us going into that final day. And yeah, so apparently this guy busted like maybe 10 minutes after I busted. So I bubbled
second
back,
to last.
before tilting.
I wonder, like, the last woman standing always has to like give some kind of a standard. I hope to inspire women to do poker and that kind of thing. I guess they would never do like that kind of interview with a. I mean, because Phil Ivey is the best player in the world, it kind of seems unnecessary. But it would be you could really totally fuck around with that interview. You could be like, you're like my dream is that 100 black men drop out of medical school when they see me on ESPN.
Yeah. That would definitely be legit, man. It was funny because when I mentioned it to the guy at ESPN, it was almost like he was taking it seriously. Like, I didn't know if he really wanted to like. Try to put that on the air like on ESPN. It didn't sound like the kind of thing they would
yells at the top of his lungs to an intern, "I need you to find me some black men." that could be uncomfortable.
We need black guys here. Stat.
Yeah, it was amazing, man.
So looking in terms of running deep in a tournament, of course, you also had the really nice score last year. Me and Steve were talking about second in event, and of course, the obvious question: How'd you fuck that up?
Oh man, way to needle.
Oh man, no, I would kill it for a second place, obviously, in the WSOP event. But
yeah. I mean, I honestly though, I mean that was really like what you just said was like my thought process, like immediately after I busted. And I think I was telling this to Steve when I talked to him the other day. Like immediately when I busted, I was pissed, for probably like. Yeah, basically that whole first night. And then I woke up the next day and I realized I just won freaking $300K.
Right.
And I'm like, things could be a lot worse. So
yeah, people are starving in Africa with
sure
the Ebola virus right now. It could be worse, right?
I'm sure there's got to be a couple hands that you remember, of course, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, my bust out hand in that was, it was pretty much a cooler. I mean, I was down to 20 big blinds. Once we got heads up, he had maybe like 4.5 to 1 chip lead on me.
Okay.
So yeah, it was going to be a pretty big hill for me to climb. And I actually approached him about maybe doing a chop, and he's like, yeah, once we get a little closer. In chips, so I was like, all right, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I guess that's not happening. But yeah, so anyway, it was just a cooler where I flopped a set of threes. He flopped a set of fours. All the money got in, and I mean, when your head's up, in PLO, I mean, if I'm deeper and it's like full ring, I had bottom set. I think the flop was like 6-3-4. If it's like full ring and we're deeper, I mean, I can play the hand a lot more cautiously and maybe get away in some spots. But, in this particular spot with the amount of big blinds, it was just a cooler. So
I would say
that was it. Set over set, and I was out.
How many day event was that?
I'm sorry?
How many days was that event? 3?
That was a 3-day event.
Yeah. Okay. And you had like 600 some people in that one, or?
That one, I'm trying to remember. I think there were like 400 and something, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. And were the levels like, was it just like a regular Hold'em tournament at the WSOP? Levels are still an hour long?
Yeah. Yeah. The levels were an hour long. I mean, the difference is that in PLO tournaments, there aren't any antes. There are never any antes in PLO tournaments.
Okay.
So that changes, obviously some of the dynamics, a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you can kind of, the 4-ring situation. I mean, people think, because it's pot limit Omaha, there's automatically going to be a lot more action. And this particular tournament was 6-handed, so yeah, there was going to be a bit more action. But with the lack of antes, I mean, it does allow you to kind of, coast if you do want to. And there were a couple of guys at the final table who that was their approach. There's one guy in particular I remember. He laddered up, from the shortest stack, going in to, I think he finished 4th for like 150K. I mean, which, had he not, kind of laddered, he would have finished around like 50K. So he made 100K just by kind of folding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you? I saw your results. You were playing in Philly. I mean, I think you're mostly making a living as a cash game guy, but do you now have like does running deep in the main event? Are you now on like a tournament you really caught the tournament bug, or
is
that kind of, are you maybe changing your approach a little bit to making money and making a living doing this, or?
Yeah, it's definitely kind of changed my approach. I mean, I'd say definitely ever since the score last year, like I started playing a bit more of a higher volume of tournaments. But the difference was last year I was still employed. I was just doing this playing poker on a part-time basis, a very part-time basis. So like, my ability to get to tournaments was pretty limited. I didn't have a lot of vacation time, et cetera, et cetera. But then, January of this year, I was relieved of my job. There were some layoffs in my company.
Okay.
And ever since then, I've been doing this full time. So yeah, I've been playing like a higher volume of tournaments certainly this year than I ever have before. But in terms of like the day to day, like paying bills and everything, like the cash games are certainly what my bread and butter is. And you mentioned Philly, yeah. I mean, I played a tournament there last week. I actually final tabled it and came in 7th, which I was a little disgusted about because I really felt like I grinded the shit out of that tournament.
Sounds like you had a bad cooler in that one too, if I remember. I can't remember. Was it like straight over straight or something? Like,
well, my bust out hand in that one was I got ace king of clubs, and guy opened in the hijack. I think I had probably about 25, 30 bigs left, and a guy opened in the hijack. We had a little bit of previous history from like a few hands earlier. And I think he just like min opened. I made it, I want to say probably about 600K, which at the time blinds were like 510, I believe.
Wait, so 510 or 50?
Oh, I'm sorry, 50, 100. 50.
Okay.
Excuse me. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so I made about like
60 big blind raise. Wow, that's kind of a lot.
Yeah, with ace king of clubs, he comes over the top. He min clicks it back, and then I ship it all in. He has queens. I hit an ace on the flop. He turns a queen, and that was that.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the difference between 1st and 7th in that tournament? Can I ask?
I cashed for 7th for about what was that, like almost 10K, a little bit under 10K, and first technically was 91K, so obviously that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
But they ended up doing a 3-way chop. I think each guy took maybe around like 50, anywhere from 50 to 60K.
Right. Poker's silly.
Yeah.
I mean, one card and you lost 50K in equity there, pretty much. Yeah,
it blows, man, especially tournaments.
Can we actually go back a little farther here to like when you started playing poker, and because I really don't know anything about your biography, where you grew up and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if before we go to strategy, if you can give us a little of that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, basically, I mean, I wasn't one of these guys that you hear a lot of guys with, like, I listen to a lot of podcasts, you hear a lot of interviews that like, I grew up playing poker around the kitchen table with my family and et cetera, et cetera. That wasn't really me. I mean, I played a little bit of 5-card back in high school around a lunch table. We just kind of used to screw around for like quarters and whatnot. But basically from high school until like my 30s, I didn't play any poker. I mean, I'm 36 years old right now, which, is kind of, I guess a dinosaur relatively. And,
well, I'm 35 and Mike's, what are you, 44, Mike?
Yeah.
You're among friends.
I'm similar. I didn't play till I was your age. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if I'm a dinosaur, then I don't know, man, you must be like going on extinct.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
So did you just pick it up with hanging out with other geeks in the software company, or how'd you start playing?
Nah, well, I mean, I always had kind of like a passing interest. Like I'd watch the WSOP, whenever it came on, every year, and I just kind of had a passing interest, and I just kind of told myself, I kind of something I kind of wanted to pick up. but every time I'd go to like a casino in AC and, I'd think about sitting down, I'd see these guys, looking all serious with hoodies and sunglasses, man, I'd bitch out, for like years, I would just like, it's a little too intimidating for me. So yeah, one year I was out in Vegas and I just decided, screw it, I'm just going to enter this $50, tournament, which now would, be like BS to me, but at the time it was like playing a WSOP Main Event, and, it was crazy. So I sit down, they give me my seat card. I don't know, like, what, like seat 4, I'm asking the deal, like, what's, which one is seat 4? So everybody's looking at me like, yeah, this guy's the fish. I screwed it up royally. I busted out quickly, but basically from there, I kind of got the courage to start looking into the game a little bit more. I started reading books and playing a little bit online, and then I got sucked into this crazy, degenerate local cash game action out here in New York, and that's things just kind of grew from there, and that's also just how my preference of like PLO and my like aptitude for PLO as opposed to Hold'em kind of started, because out here in New York, like you can't really find many cash games where they're not playing PLO. Like that's kind of the way things are, right? Because everybody's just action junkies pretty much out here,
Right. Okay. Well, that makes sense then to master that game.
Yeah. So how long ago did you start?
Sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
How long ago did you start PLO? How many years ago?
Oh yeah, so that was what I told you about, like when I first sat down in that tournament. That was like the end of 2010 when I first. Okay. That was 2010. So about 5 years ago.
Okay.
And it was about maybe it was like late 2011 that I started playing like live cash games and locally and playing PLO.
Okay. And you like PLO more than Hold'em, or?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely the game that I feel a bit more, comfortable with. I mean, I do, definitely enjoy the action in PLO a bit more. I mean, yeah, like once you play a lot of PLO, like sometimes it's difficult for me, especially in cash games, to play Hold'em cash. Hold'em in tournaments for me is different because I get more of a thrill out of tournaments. It's more like, there's a lot more strategy involved, and the blinds are increasing. There's just a lot more things to think about. But for me, like Hold'em cash is like a little bit monotonous for me. So like, when it comes to cash, like I pretty much strictly play PLO.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
I was telling Steve that in terms of getting excited about PLO, that when I bought the piece of the action, I met you down for breakfast. You were there with a couple buddies, and you guys were so excited to play the tournament. I'm like, I got to be a part of this. And you gave me like a 5-minute lesson on ranges of opening hands. I'm like, oh yeah, I could ship this thing.
I'm a favorite now.
Yeah, I remember that, man. And you ended up jumping right in, right? You jumped into the.
I did. I ran right in. What the heck, Like I said, a lot of people say that if you're good at Nolan and Hold'em, that's like the one game that like kind of the skills do kind of jump over into, easier than the others, anyways. But. Yeah. I knew I would have to gamble, and I chipped up and then just got in a 3-way all in, with ace king suited and a couple other cards that sort of connected, and didn't get there. But
yeah.
Quickly before maybe we do some the other thing, how'd you become a Golden State Warriors fan? Living in New York, what's the deal with that? I don't know.
Yeah,
are you back from the Hardaway Mullen Mitch Richmond days, or that was probably before your time? I don't know.
No. That was actually right during my time. Yeah, right there in the early '90s. Like that was when I became a fan. Run TMC back then. Like they were, even though they didn't win a damn thing, like they were the most entertaining team in the NBA.
Yeah, absolutely, they were fun. Then they got Weber, and they had that was.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I kind of became a fan. I became hooked on Golden State since then, and I got laughed at, every single year by all my friends, who are all, Knicks fans. Not that the Knicks have won anything, recently, but
right.
but yeah, I get laughed at all the time, until this year. And now this year, it's like the in thing to be a Golden State fan. And I almost feel like it's like cliche, when I was walking around the Rio for me to be walking around with like my Golden State gear on. It's like,
I was curious. I had a sense that you had some history as a fan. Not that I know you at all. That you weren't a guy who just bought the jersey like the day after they won their 50th game or something. So,
but it's funny. I mean, I get that so often now. Whenever I sit down, if I was in Vegas and if I'm at parks or whatever, I'm wearing Golden State gear. It's like, yeah. So when did you become a fan? Like last week? That's always the first thing people say.
I was a fan before they had fans. Okay.
Yeah, man. It's funny. Yeah, I have a picture. Me and my daughter. From when she was first. Well, maybe not firstborn, but she was maybe like 6 months old. And it's one of my favorite pictures of her. She's 12 years old now, and I'm rocking the Golden State headband. The Golden State shirt. It's like
knee-high socks.
It wasn't the end thing to do. So yeah.
I see just your Twitter, you mentioned the DFS. Are you naturally that comes up almost every time I'm at a poker table now, which I don't do. Are you a winner with that?
Yeah.
Daily fantasy sports or?
I mean, I did pretty well during basketball season. Lately I've been jumping into baseball. And it's funny, like when I was younger, I was a lot more into baseball, and I kind of stopped watching baseball for a while. So there's been a bit of a learning curve for me in that. And I've been definitely, I'm definitely not a winner at baseball right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been trying to learn and get better, and the results have been getting a little bit better recently. But football season's coming around. I'm excited about that. I did okay in football last year, and I've kind of linked up with some guys who are a lot smarter and a lot better, than me in DFS. So we got a little bit of a plan to make some profit this year. So
okay, still drives me nuts that DraftKings is legal and PokerStars isn't. But
yeah, it's pretty incredible, man. I mean,
pretty ridiculous. Yeah,
it makes no sense. No sense at all.
What? So you started playing full time in January. What are you married? Does your wife work or?
I have a girlfriend, and she, we do live together. We have a house. She does work full time, and when things first happened, when I got laid off from the job, it was kind of like panic mode. Like, all right, what are you gonna do? Because I mean, literally since I was 14 years old, and we've known each other since high school. Literally since I was like 14 years old, I've always had a job. I've never not had a job.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a little bit of panic, and then I just had to let her know. I mean, hey, I've been pretty profitable in these cash games. I think I can do this full time, and I just figured I'd give it a go, and it's been pretty. Things have been working out since then.
And how many hours a week on average do you put in? Like, if you don't mind me asking, what's your hourly and
Steve, you never asked hourly.
Is that bad juju or?
You've asked it like 6 times and no one's answered it. I don't know if it's.
Okay, leave that out then. What? How many hours a week do you play? What's your study habits? What's your routine? Do you treat it like a job Monday through Friday, or what? How do you run it?
Yeah. I absolutely try to treat it like a job. I mean, when I get up, I mean, as you guys know, I'm a TPE member, just like you guys. So I mean, I try to at least read, or either read something or watch a video pretty much every day.
Okay.
When I try to just devote, even if it's just like half an hour, 45 minutes, to just doing that whenever I wake up. So that's so that along with just going over hands with buddies, because obviously I'm more of a live pro. So I don't have the HUD and all that stuff. So I try to like take notes on all the interesting hands that I've been in and whatnot. And I go over hands with buddies, and sometimes I'll go to a friend's house. We'll just run a sit and go there and just fuck around and try to get better that way. Playing sit and goes with each other and whatnot. Whether it's PLO or PLO8 or Hold'em, we'll do that as well. So that's, kind of the learning process, and the study process. But as far as, like my play on a weekly basis, if I'm not traveling somewhere for a tournament, if I'm home, I'll usually play maybe like 2 to 3 sessions a week, sometimes more, but I say the average would be like maybe 2 to 3 sessions a week. And I'll average maybe anywhere from 6 to maybe 10 hours a session.
Okay.
At these local cash games. And
I'm still here. Did we lose Darius?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was just going to ask about these cash games. I mean, do you pay? Is it a bunch of? Do you have to like pay a rake to the house kind of stuff? I mean, is this like rounders kind of? I don't know. That when I hear under cash games, I'm immediately picturing like Russian mobsters in the corner, like smoking cigars, staring at the mark or whatever. But
you know what? In a few of these games, it's really not that far off. That's not that far off from the truth, man.
Okay.
It's pretty similar to what you see around us. I mean, but I've played in so many. I mean, you'll get that end of the spectrum where you get that Russian mafia kind of, feel and whatnot. When you gotta like ring the bell and then go through like 3 different doors, and then then you see some big 300-pound dude at kind of bouncer looking dude at the door, and it's that kind of thing. So you get that into the spectrum, but then I've also played in local games where it's like it'll be like out at some rich guy's house in the middle of nowhere with the doors unlocked, and you walk in and there's the president of one company and some partner in another company sitting there and that kind of thing. So it's it ranges from a lot of different ends of the spectrum, but yeah, generally these games out here in New York, they are pretty highly raked. I'm not gonna lie. Which makes, which means like, obviously if you're, like kind of a break even kind of player, I mean, you're ultimately going to lose. The majority of people in a lot of these games are going to lose. But, I feel like I have a big enough edge, in these games. And so far it's proven to be, be the case. I can, walk out a winner, and it's been paying the bills, man.
Good.
I guess you're probably playing against some guys with some deep pockets. Do you have to sell part of your action to play in these games, or?
It's funny. Though generally I don't sell action for cash games. I do sell action for a lot of the tournaments that I'm playing these days, especially since I'm focusing like a lot more on like higher buy-in, like main event kind of tournaments. But yeah, so generally I'm not selling action for cash, but I did make a couple of bankroll mistakes, towards the beginning, especially after that big score. Where I kind of walked into big games that I probably shouldn't have been playing. And,
sure.
I mean, we're talking about like, quarter 50 games, and then, you get the $100 straddle and the $200 and the $400, restraddle, these kind of games, and I took like, a couple of pretty big hits, like 5-figure losses. And, after that, I was kind of scared straight with that. I quickly kind of realized, like, whenever you're sitting down in a game and you're just not comfortable, and I'm not making the same decisions that I would make, like if I was playing like my 5-5 game or something like that, it's
right.
Probably a game that I shouldn't be in, had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
Steve, you got a couple hands here. Man, you can maybe learn something about PLO.
I do. I was telling Mike earlier, and I think you, Darius, yesterday when we were on the phone, that my Omaha experience is probably an hour and a few minutes, because the first time I played Omaha, it was a mistake, reg into a tournament. Somehow I managed to bust the first level in a pot limit tournament, and then the majority of my experience in Omaha came like 2 days ago when I played an hour online of cash PLO just for this interview. So and it was a lot of fun. I had to think a lot more. I could only do 2 tables, and even that was, when I had 2 hands going on at the same time, it was pretty tough for me. But it was a lot of fun. I was surprised. I actually even considered.
You have a nice pack on your head, Steve. I know thinking can be painful for you.
It is. It is very painful. But it was a lot of fun. I even considered doing the Sunday grind, doing like 2 tables of PLO, and then when I finally fired it up, I'm like, no, I got to play Hold'em. But it was cool. It was cool. I do have some questions though, and these are just some general ones, and then I got a couple of hands.
Sure.
Okay, just generally speaking, like what are some good raising hands in Omaha? Like ace, ace, king, king. Would that be the nuts? Like starting out, or
no? Fold that, Steve.
yeah, muck that all day, bro.
Okay, all right. You're talking to a kindergartner here right now that just learned the rules of poker.
These games soft here, Steve.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You should definitely be opening the 7 deuce. 5-9. That should be that should be in the range all day, bro.
Okay.
No, but yeah. I mean, ace, king, king. Is widely regarded as like the best starting hand in PLO. But okay. I mean, the first thing that you need to understand about PLO is that the hand equities run a lot closer than they do in Hold'em. Obviously, since you have 4 cards, as opposed to 2. So I mean, when you see a hand with ace, it's never. It's good. It's great. It's a great thing to have, but it's never really the nuts. I mean, you're very rarely anything more than like a 60% favorite pre-flop. Like if all the money goes in. So yeah, that's the first thing to understand. But yeah, some good raising hands. I mean, ace, king, king, definitely great. I mean, any double suited, ace hand is a pretty good starting hand to have. Certainly, like in position. I mean, I consider opening like I consider opening like more like suited rundowns, like stuff like 9-10 Jack Queen, things like, and even not in position. I mean, you can open stuff like that if they're double suited under the gun. Okay. You can open hands like that have like a gap in them. So like maybe like 8-9 Jack Queen, something like that. I mean, you can still make a lot of nut straights, with hands like that. But generally, like you want to, if you're opening hands like that, you want to be opening, or at least, if a lot of money is going into the pot, you want to be opening with hands that have, like, if you're going to have a gap in them, you want it to be more so at the bottom as opposed to at the top, because you'll make a lot more nut straights, with hands that have gaps at the bottom as opposed to at the top. So, yeah, so that's, I guess, on a high level. Yeah, that's what I say.
Okay. And what are hands to avoid, like the 7-2-5-9, four suits, or?
Yeah, I mean, generally in PLO, I mean, you'd prefer to have hands that you prefer to have 4 cards that are all working together.
Okay.
So I mean, if you have a hand like, let's just say, I don't know, Queen, Jack, Deuce 5, for example.
Okay.
I mean, that's not really a strong hand. I mean, that's something that, I mean, depending on the game that I'm in, like if it folds to me on the button and I maybe have, some tight players, in the blinds or something like that, maybe I consider opening that, or really any 4 cards, sometimes, in that kind of position. But generally, I'm not going to be playing a hand like that. So yeah, you definitely want to avoid any hands that have that don't have 4 cards, or at least 3 cards, kind of working together. And you also want to generally try to avoid hands that have that don't have suits, because I mean, it's very like making basically in PLO. I mean, whereas in Hold'em, I mean, you're gonna win a lot of hands, with top pair, or sometimes even ace high, whatever the case is. In PLO, it's a lot more important to make straights, flushes, hands like that. That is going to happen. Hands like that are going to happen a lot more frequently, in PLO. So you want to have hands that have suits, in them as well, that can make flushes, and preferably the nut flush. But
Sure.
If not, then maybe a very high flush.
Okay. Well, okay. You might have already answered my question here. Then, okay. I was one of the tables I was at was 6-handed. And I was under the gun with 5-2 of hearts, Jack.
Okay.
Is that even an open, or do you just muck that, or?
I mean, you're six-handed. You said 5-2 of hearts, and the jacks are not. The jacks were rainbow, obviously.
They were diamonds and clubs.
Yeah. Yeah, especially for you, especially just starting out, I would say muck that.
Okay.
I would
Okay.
certainly say muck that. In certain games, especially since it's six-handed, I can see opening depending on the kind of the kind of villains that you're facing behind you. But yeah, as a general strategy, I wouldn't recommend opening that hand.
Okay. And this was another interesting hand that happened. I was in the big blind, and the button, for whatever reason, he shoved 250 big blinds, and I'm in the big blind. He just open shoved that. It was kind of weird. I don't know if it was a misclick or what. But
wait, this is PLO?
No, this was. I'm sorry. One of them was PLO. The other one was no limit Omaha.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. I was like, how's he shoving 200?
Yeah, how's he shoving 250?
I didn't even know there was such a thing, actually. But yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, apparently there was. And I've got Queen 9-2.
Queen 9-2. I mean, yeah, that's a muck all day.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I mean, 200. I mean, even though hand equities run pretty closely in PLO, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't ever see, and this isn't PLO, this is no limit. I mean, which I haven't played a ton of. I mean, I used to play when I first got started in some of these like hood back alley games. They play it,
Yeah.
But generally, you're not going to see a lot of no limit Omaha. But yeah, to put in 250 big blinds, you said Queen 9 deuce, and do you have any suits at all, or?
No, four color.
Yeah, no, that's a muck, bro.
That's a muck. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I folded. I had no clue, but I wrote it down because I thought maybe this is a snap call. I don't know. I see queens, because I'm a hold'em player, and I'm like, ooh, and then I'm like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, but, that's the number one adjustment, or one of the major adjustments that I think hold'em players have to make, when you're transitioning to PLO is, when you see those big pairs, queens, jacks, I mean, kings, I mean, you still have to play those hands carefully, especially if you don't have suits, and especially if you don't have cards that are working along with them, I mean,
yeah. Like the 5 deuce and the 9-2, it's just no.
Yeah. I mean, like if you were talking about queen, jack 10 double suited, then I could maybe, think about making a call there. I mean, for 250 big blinds, that's still a lot, but like a call would be a little bit more justifiable, if you're talking about a hand like that as opposed to like a rainbow unconnected, just bare queens. Yeah.
Okay.
If we could just go to like TPE, we know is like a great resource for no limit hold'em. I don't know if there's for pot limit. I read one of the Jeff Huang books. Isn't he considered one of the better writers with Omaha?
Yeah, actually.
PLO, I don't know if you want to just throw, or maybe you just learn the game just by playing and talking to friends. But I'm wondering if there's any like resources for someone who wants to become good at the game.
Yeah. It's funny you mention that because Jeff Huang's books were actually the way that I really learned like serious PLO. Like when I first started playing PLO, just like in these local games. I mean, half of these, maybe not even half, like 3/4 of these guys don't have no clue what they're doing. So it's like I learned the basics of PLO, but I learned the wrong way to play PLO. But yeah. So Jeff Huang's books, like I read all of them. And those were the books that really gave me like my basis, in PLO strategy, from the very beginning. So those are great books. Since then, I mean, I haven't really read any PLO books. I downloaded a couple that I've been meaning to get around to reading. Like there's one, what's it called? Post flop profits, understanding winning pot limit Omaha cash game strategy. Who's this guy? Forgetting this guy is. Trying to find this guy's name real quick.
But basically, the Jeff Huang, if you read those books, if you're digesting them, certainly you're on your way to becoming probably pretty good at that game. I would think just from that was my sense, anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives you a nice basis and good what am I trying to say? Tight aggressive pot limit Omaha strategy. I mean, he has an advanced book in which he gets more into like a lag style of play. But generally his books are going to give you a good, like positionally aware, tight aggressive style of pot limit Omaha that will make you, probably, it'll have you on the way to being a winning player, I think, and it'll give you a good basis in pot strategy.
And just just repeating what you said before, that was kind of the eye opener. He says, for me, or I guess it sort of makes sense, but he says if you're going to take people's stacks in PLO, it's usually going to be with flush over flush or straight over straight, more than set over set.
Right, exactly.
So you're really looking for those cards that are they're going to get you that can get you both a flush and a straight, or like obviously aces, or you're never folding aces, but that was kind of the thing where.
Right. I mean, there
made a lot of sense, obviously.
Yeah, there are some spots. I mean, depending on the action. I mean, if you have really shitty aces, I mean, you can fold them pre-flop.
Right.
Wow.
If they're, and I mean, you never imagine doing that in Hold'em, but I mean, if all the money goes in, let's just say you're playing like 100 big blinds deep, and you pot and then you get like repot. And you're playing 100, 200 big blinds deep. I mean, and you have shitty aces. I mean, chances are, you could be up against guys that have kings, maybe, but I mean, there's a decent chance you're up against somebody who has an ace in your hand. Pretty much the only way you're going to win most of the time is by hitting a set. I mean,
Sure.
Occasionally your two aces are going to be good, but with shitty aces, most of the time you're going to win by hitting a set. So, if you figure that maybe one of your aces is dead, I mean, there are some spots, like that where it's justifiable to fold pre. And there are also some spots where you may flop the nuts, and depending on the action, it's justifiable to fold the nuts. And I know
Right.
That's like, you can't even fathom that and hold them, but there are spots in PLO where it is justifiable to do that.
Yeah,
Okay,
in the Omaha tournament, I know it wasn't pre-flop, but post-flop. I flopped top two pair, and I raised, and this woman folded, who's a pro, Wendy, I forget her last name, but she's like, I'm glad I have weak aces. Like,
Yep.
it was easy to get away from her. She didn't have some backdoor something. So.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. When you have weak aces, it's like, you're pretty much going to hit a set or you're done with the hand, like in most cases. Or, if your head's up, if you're not multi-way and the flop comes out like, I don't know, 4-4-9 or something like that. I mean, most of the time you're going to be good. I mean, you'll have the best two pair you can have. Most of the time you'll be good on a flop like that, so you can continue. But on a lot of flops, it's going to be hard to continue.
Now, what about the last hand that I was talking about with the Queen 9-2? What if you had Ace 9-2? And, I mean, it's obviously not a pro that's shoving on the button with 250 big blinds, right? I mean, that must be an amateur that...
Yeah.
Would you call with Ace 9-2?
Ace 9-2 rainbow, right?
Yeah.
It's tough, man. I mean, you gotta call 250 big blinds. And this is cash we're talking about, right? Not a tournament?
Yeah.
This is, I mean, if it's cash, and you can reload, I mean, yeah, depending on how froggy you're feeling, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, you can definitely do it. I mean, honestly, the aces, I mean, it increases your equity a bit, but at the end of the day, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, against a random hand, I mean, you're rarely anything more, even with good aces, you're rarely anything more than like a 60% favorite. And if he has like some kind of like suited rundown or something like a double suited rundown, I mean, you could be basically flipping, or you could even be like, slightly behind. So, depending on what he has. So, yeah.
Okay.
Again,
And what
if I
about
could
this one? I was in the same situation. I was in the big blind and the button shoved, different guy this time. But for whatever reason, he decided to shove for 80 big blinds. And I've got Ace King of clubs, 4-5 of diamonds. Is that a call?
Ace King of clubs and 4-5 of diamonds.
Better than pocket queens for sure.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, certainly better than pocket queens. I mean, you don't.
This time it's only 80 bigs.
Yeah, 80 bigs is a little bit better, obviously. I mean, it's not ideally like the four cards working together, like I mentioned earlier, but you do have some possibilities since you have the 4-5. I mean, you can make some wheels and stuff like that. So the four cards do kind of work together. And you're double suited. I mean, in a no limit Omaha game, again, I mean, I'm not the No Limit Omaha buff, here, but I mean, I could, if he's playing aggro where he can have any 4 cards, I mean, it's justifiable to maybe make that call, if you just want to gamble and get it in and you're ready to reload. Yeah. I mean, I could see maybe making a call depending on the villain. If it's a type, villain, yeah, I'd probably muck it, but if it's somebody who you see just opening up any 4 cards, yeah, I mean, I could see doing that.
I don't know if it's just we had Chris Moon on a few weeks ago, who's like concentrating, it sounds like, most of his time with PLO cash.
Okay.
And he was talking about, he's like, a lot of times, I mean, maybe it depends on which game you're playing, is, you have to just run these 300 big blind pots out just because, you got 54% equity. I mean, you kind of know where your opposition's at, and you can't, it's hard to play lower variance in that game and just like look for better spots. I get it. Sounded like what he was saying. It's just, it depends if you're in a gambling game or not. But, I mean, if you're ahead of the guy, if you think you're ahead of what he's shoving with, I mean, I guess No Limit Hold'em is kind of the same, but it sounds like you just have to, you can't fold in those spots.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this is pertinent to what the hand Steve's talking about, but.
Yeah. I think in his spot, I mean, most likely, again, against a gambling player, I mean, you're ahead of his range. So I think, a call there makes sense. But I mean, the thing is, in PLO, with the pot limit betting structure, I mean, since these spots can't happen, right? So in these instances, I mean, you can take flops, you can control the pot a bit more, especially if you're in position, with a hand like that. And so, depending on how deep you are, I mean, there are times where you can get to the river, and realize your equity, but but obviously in other spots, if you're a little more shallow, and depending on the cards and the run out, sometimes the flop just dictates that the cards are going to go in,
Right. Okay. I guess that's, yeah.
Okay.
Quickly, too, I don't know if it's just general stress. Like I was playing a $10 tournament the other night, and, you'd have someone who'd do a min raise and 3 people would call, and I'd be on the button. And of course, in no limit, I would be squeezing there with a large range of hands.
Yep.
So, I mean, in pot limit, of course, in this particular tournament, I only did it once. And of course, 2 people shoved all over me. And you know what I mean? Like people are just willing to get it in.
Yep.
But like in a cash game, is like light 3-betting and squeezing much more, is that not even a viable strategy, or?
It definitely is a viable strategy, but it's all player, it's all player dependent. So, like in most of the like cash games that I play locally here, you run into, donkey after donkey. So, I mean, when it comes to trying to squeeze people out of pots and whatnot, I mean, I was playing a game 2 nights ago. I had double suited aces, a pretty good ace, queen, 10. And what was this? A 5-5-10 game. One guy straddled to 20. Whole table had called. It folded to me on the button. I potted it. And whole table calls. So it's like these are the kind of situations. Even with good hands, like ace, queen, you're going against the whole table. You're not a favorite.
Sure.
I mean,
you're probably 15% or something in your life.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're playing in a game like that, which I frequently end up running into, like a more viable strategy, is to just play small ball, and that's what I do in a lot of these games. Is I just try to play mostly, good fundamental PLO, play pots in position for the most part, and really try to control the size of the pot. And put, max pressure on, when I have it or when I have a really good draw to it. And, in those kind of games, people will pay you off,
Yeah, these guys will pay you off and you don't pay them off, and you got a profitable night pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wrote down 2 hands, from those sessions, both of which I have absolutely no idea if I played brilliantly or just completely, like a dog.
I already got the answer for you there, Steve.
I think you do.
No comment. I'll reserve my comment for after.
Okay. This one, I think the max buy-in was only $5 or something. I wanted to minimize my my losses here while I was learning a game that I had no idea how to play. But I was in the, let's see, okay, the cutoff comes in for 25. The button folds, so he raises to 25. I'm trying to remember what the blinds were. I think they were 5-10. And so he comes...
I'm sorry. This is a tournament you're talking about here?
Oh, no, this is a cash game.
Okay, yeah, okay. All right, got it. 5-10?
5 cent, 10 cent.
5 cent, 10 cent, yeah.
All right.
So we're dealing with just a table of pros here. And the cutoff raises to 25. The button folds, and then I'm in the small blind with Ace-7 of spades, 8-10 of clubs.
7 of spades, 8-10 of clubs, okay.
Is that a re-raise or a fold or a call or?
10 of clubs. Well, I mean, I don't love the fact that you're out of position.
Okay.
Necessarily in here. I mean, there is how deep were you? Were you in for the full buy-in for $5 at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. And the cutoff has like how much behind? Does he have you covered or?
He has $2.14.
All right, $2.14. Okay, he makes it 25 cents. So, yeah, I mean, he has like 50 bigs, 25 bigs. Yeah, I mean, I don't really love the fact that you're out of position. I would generally be mucking this, especially in a small blind. But I mean, I could see again in some games when if you know that the big blind is going to call behind you and you're getting decent enough odds. I mean, I could see maybe making a loose call in some games. Again, if you're playing a game where you have a good feeling if you make your straight or if you make your flushes that you're going to get paid, then I could see it. But generally, I'm going to muck in a small blind. On the button is a different story. On the button, I'll call that all day. But in the small blind, I would generally be mucking that.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, I called, and the big blind folds.
Sorry, let me just say one more thing too. I mean, you could make a case for re-raising, especially if you're up against a pretty loose guy. But I mean, but again, if you're up against a loose guy who's calling with any 4 cards, re-raising, you're kind of bloating the pot a little bit, and you're out of position. So because I heard you mention re-raising as an option there, so I just want to kind of talk about that option as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I call, and then the big blind folds, and we go to the flop, 60 in the pot, and the flop is 6 of hearts, 8 of spades, 5 of spades. And again, I've got ace of spades, 7 of spades, 8 of clubs, 10 of clubs. So looking at this, I've got a open-ended straight draw. So you have to play 2 of the cards in your hand, and you have to play 3 of the cards on the board. So
right.
So the 6, 8, and 5 are in my hand, and then I can choose between the 4 cards to play 2. So on this flop, I would say I'm playing the ace of spades and the 7 of spades to go for the flush. And I'm also playing the 7 of spades and the 8 of clubs to go for the up and down straight draw. So I have 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that accurate, or am I?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I mean, you can't discount the fact also that you have a pair. I mean, that does mean something.
Okay.
As well. I mean, you could have a spot where this guy doesn't even have a pair in his hand sometimes. Okay. So that does factor into your equity as well. But yeah, I mean that you're generally. I mean, it's a pretty good flop for you.
Okay. And I just saw it. I could also catch a 9 too, because I've got 7, 10, so I could catch 6, 7, 8, and then so I got a gut shot there. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
This is how good at Omaha I am. I just now realized that I had a good shot. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a great flop for you. I mean, in this spot, you said there's 60 cents in the pot. He has 214 behind. I mean, I could make a case for leading here, but I wouldn't mind, a check raise either. One way or another, I'm trying to get the money in on this flop, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to give myself a pat on the back here because I did go for the check raise. I checked. Luckily, he went for it. He bet 26, and then I raised to 78.
Okay. So 26 to 78.
Not enough to raise, or should I?
I mean, I don't know. I would generally. I mean, you made it 78, so if he made it 26. That means he had a little less than $2 behind,
he had 163 behind after he bet.
Okay, 163 behind, and you made it 78. I mean, one way or another, you're pretty much he's pretty much committing. You know, should he call your bet? I mean, the money's going in one way or another, so I guess it's kind of irrelevant. I mean, generally, I'd be potting there, well, especially if we were deeper. I mean, I'd probably lean towards a pot, but you know, yeah, I think your sizing is fine. One way or another, it's still sending the same message, like, all right, I want to get the money in. You know?
Yeah, we're playing for stacks here. If you want to go, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I check raised and then he folded.
Okay.
So, but that's surprising to me. I thought that would be a call all day long, but you were saying that you would you mostly be folding there in the small blind and possibly arguing for a raise. I thought those were the two least likely options, but that's okay.
Yeah, so I mean, only because you're in the small blind. I mean, it's different if you're even if you're in the big blind and you already have some money invested, in the pot. I mean, you're getting a little bit of a better, a little bit of a discount and whatnot. I mean, to me, it's a little bit more justifiable in the big blind, but in the small blind, I mean, you could have, let's say if the big blind comes along, now you're out of position against two people with a hand that, I mean, it's not a bad hand, but it plays a lot better in position than it does, out of position. So yeah, like as a general, and again, I mean, I'm not saying that in my local donkey cash games that I wouldn't necessarily make this kind of a call in a small blind, but especially for you, like if you're just trying to start out and get into good fundamental PLO strategy, you should probably muck that and have to play that more so in position.
Okay.
If you were playing this hand 200 big blinds deep, what would you rather have? You think hit your flush or hit your straight? I guess it depends, obviously, what the other guy has.
Yeah,
because just the Jeff Huang thing, I think I remember saying, like, a lot of times if people have a set or a big pair, they'll get away from when they see three hearts on the board.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
they just never fold when you got the straight, or a lot less. But on the other hand, you get the flush, you could have flush over flush. So yeah, it depends on what they have, but
that is true. But I mean, if it's a decent PLO player, I mean, he'll know. I mean, in this particular situation, like Steve's situation, he was shorter. But if you're 200 big blinds deep and you get flush over flush, depending on how big the flush is, because I mean, I obviously having the second nuts and having the nut flush is extremely important. Right. So if you have if somebody has a jack high flush, it's rare that you're going to see somebody
they're not going to raise.
Yeah, they're not really going to overvalue it, that much to the point where all the money's going to go in 200 big blinds deep.
Right.
Unless they really feel like they have some kind of a read or unless they're just bad,
Okay.
Every fish has already lost 3 massive pots with the king high flush probably in their lives. Yeah. So,
Yeah. I mean, it's really such a common situation, in PLO that, losing, with the second nut flush, even like you said, even fish kind of know not to overvalue it too much.
Okay. I got another one. Let's see. 1, 2, 9-handed. Okay, so this one's 9-handed. 1, 2. I would never. Oh, that must be 1 cent, 2 cent. Okay, so I guess I'm playing 1 cent, 2 cent. We're at the bottom of the limits here. Let's see. Middle position raises to 7. I'm in the hijack, and I have 3 of hearts, queen of hearts, queen of diamonds, 5 of hearts.
Let me see. How deep are you? Because I mean, essentially, you're playing this hand. I mean, the 3 and the 5 kind of do nothing for you. You're almost playing this like a hold'em hand. There's some chance that you end up flopping trip threes or some shit like that, but the majority of the time, you're really just playing your queens, and that's it with this kind of hand.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, if you're deep enough and you're at a loose enough table where there's going to be enough action that you're going to have the, enough, immediate odds and implied odds that if you hit your set, you'll be able to like profitably, play it and get paid. Then yeah, I could see, making a call there, but, I mean, you're in the hijack. I mean, you have decent position. I mean, generally, probably, I don't know. It's really 50-50. It's really 50-50, and it's table dependent. To be honest, if you were in shittier position, I'd be mucking this all day.
Okay.
But again, like if all of those things that I just mentioned are working for you in terms of the odds, the implied odds, in the table, then yeah, I mean, I think I'd make a call. But if you're at a super tight table, and you're not going to get a lot of callers behind you, like in the blinds and whatnot, then I don't know. I'd probably just wait for a better spot, to be honest.
Okay. All right. I decided to call, so I call the 7. The cutoff calls 7. Small blind and big blind also call.
Okay, so that's a great result for you.
Yeah, I figured that was probably about as good as it could get. So,
Yep.
But so we go 5-handed to the flop. We got after the rake, we got 34 in the pot. The flop is Queen of Spades, 9 of clubs, 2 of clubs, and again I've got 3 of hearts, Queen of Diamonds, 5 of hearts.
Okay.
So I flop top set.
Yep.
And middle position, small blind checks, big blind checks, the initial razor checks, and then it's on me. Are you potting? Are you half pot? Like, what's your...
Well,
we're obviously betting, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're 100% betting.
Okay.
Now, how deep are you, and how deep are they? But like in particular, the opener.
Man, I don't remember. My hold'em manager couldn't pick these things up, so I had to pause it and then replay the hand and write everything down. And I didn't write the stack sizes, although I know I'm at least 100 big blinds deep because, I'm at least the max buy-in deep because if I lose a hand, then I just click reload to make sure I always have the most chips I can. So I'm going to assume that I'm 100 bigs deep.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, particularly since you're 4 away, I would probably just lean towards potting it, to be honest. I mean, right now you have obviously the best hand. You could. I mean, it's a pretty dry flop. But you could be up against flush draws. Sometimes you're not. But a decent amount of time you'd be up against some kind of a flush draw. Somebody could have like Jack 10 with the flush draw. So I mean, you wanna charge them the maximum amount to if one of those guys is drawing to see the turn on river and realize their equity. Now it's unlikely that original raiser, the mid position guy, has any of those kind of hands because most likely he's c-betting that kind of a hand. Most competent PLO players, I don't ever see any reason for slow playing a drawing hand like that. So, but I'd be more worried about the guys in the blinds that you mentioned. One of them maybe having some kind of a hand like that. So
Jack 10 or something for the open ender.
Yeah, they could have Jack, just the bare Jack 10. They could have the bare flush draw, or they could have both. There could be a guy that has both. So considering all those possibilities, I wouldn't want to give him a free card, and I'd probably just pot it right there.
Okay. All right. And that's what I did. I potted it, and then it folded around, and I scooped it.
Okay.
Would there ever be a spot there if it was Queen 7 Deuce Rainbow where you just have the board murdered, where there's not even like a gutter ball out there, or a flush draw? Would you check there, or you're probably still betting? Obviously, there's no reason not to build the pot, right?
Yeah, I mean, there have been spots like that where I mean, depending on my image at the table, like if I have like a really tight, solid kind of an image, I might check, and sometimes there for deception, purposes, and then once you check the flop, like I mean, just like you said, Mike, like it's pretty much expected if you have a hand like top set on that kind of a board that you're going to bet out. So once you check there, nobody ever thinks that you have a set, ever. So a lot of the times, especially if you have kind of an image like that, you can end up making a lot more money, because your hand is like extremely disguised. Like people think that maybe you have some kind of a draw that you turned, or maybe you turn two pair, or something like that. But they'll never put you on top set, in that kind of if you play it that way. So there are some situations where I would decide to do that.
Okay. I think from reading the Huang book, I'm sure a lot of people who don't play PLO, where you said there's times where you have to fold the nuts, and I remember a couple examples he had, but I don't know. Have you ever played a hand where you folded the nuts?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like basically, if you got like 8-10 jack out there, but you got 9 queen and it's 2 to, I mean, if somebody has, you think, and 3 guys are kind of going all in, you think there's a good chance someone's got a set and someone's got the nut flush draw, and of course a draw to a better straight. I mean, that would be the easiest nut fold, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and that's exactly the kind of situation that I'm talking about. Like that's most often going to be the situation where you fold the nuts. It'll be more so the nut straight as opposed to I mean, there would never be a situation where I'd see folding, obviously like the nut full house or the nut flush. I mean, I can't really see any situation where I'd fold the nut flush ever. But yeah, more often it's going to be, nut straight kind of situations where it's a super wet board. There's a flush draw out there and you're multi-way, and maybe, you lead out, for pot, and then somebody comes over the top, and then a guy behind him comes over the top, so maybe it's like 3-4 ways, call, and it gets back to you, and all you have is the nuts with no redraw. I mean, that in those kind of a spots, it's a pretty standard fold. Like if you're multi-way, if you're 3-way, there's more of an argument for maybe going with the net spot. But if you just have the nuts with 2 cards that come with no redraws to speak of, it's going to be more profitable in the long run for you to make that fold. You're probably
You're probably like 30% to win that point.
Exactly.
You're dodging 19 outs twice or whatever it would be, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Most of the time, like when all the money goes in those kind of spots, you're hovering around that 30% range, 30-35% range, in terms of your equity. So. If you think about it in hold'em terms, I mean, getting all your money in, with 35%, not always, obviously not going to be the most profitable situation. So, yeah, there's definitely an argument for that.
That sounds so weird. I've never heard that before. Folding the nuts.
Yeah.
It sounds so wrong.
It takes a while to wrap your mind around it, man. But once you played a bit of PLO, and believe me, there are guys that I play with every day, who've been playing for years, and they're not capable of folding nuts on the flop. But I'm just saying, like, if you want to play good, profitable PLO in the long run, those are the kind of things that you got to consider, when you're in those spots.
Huh. Interesting.
So what do you got? First of all, are you down in Florida now? Did I think I saw that you're playing? Are you playing the Hard Rock down there?
I am going to be playing a Hard Rock, but I can't get down there until the weekend. My son's birthday is actually this weekend, and I missed my daughter's birthday earlier in the year when I was down in Hard Rock, and we celebrated like the following week. But I just didn't want to make a habit out of doing that, like just to be at a poker tournament. So I want to like put the kids first. So yeah, I'm gonna handle all that on Saturday, and then I'm immediately flying out, and I'm going to miss, there's like this big $5,200 buy-in, $5 million guarantee freeze out. They got
the $5 million guarantee back. Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's going to be pretty big, man. So I'm pretty excited. Well, I'm not going to be playing that one, but because that starts on Saturday, I won't get down there in time. But the following day, there's a 2,600 $1 million guarantee, I believe, and that one's a freeze out. And then the day after that, there's an 1,100 reentry. That's like a $500K guarantee. And then later on that day, if I really just run bad and or play like shit, and I'm not in any of those tournaments anymore, there's a $2,600 PLO that evening. So
okay.
Yeah. It's,
are you selling pieces of this?
Yeah. I sold a bit already, just like privately, and I sold a little bit on 2+2.
Oh, wait a second. Okay, I see right here. 1.3, man. Come on now. Just because you cashed the main event? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
good for you, man. That's good.
Have you ever had it's kind of funny you mentioned the kids. I mean, I try to, I have to sort of plan that now, that like how much traveling do I want to do? Although I think I'm a pretty good live, no limit hold'em player, so I kind of want to do that. But I'm sure you've had the spot. Well, if missing a birthday is it. I mean, I've had times where I'm playing a tournament. My son's 7, and I can't answer the phone. You know what I mean? And I'll call him the next morning, and he wanted to tell me about something that happened in school, and I'm like, yeah, I'm the worst person in the world. I don't know. I mean, that just goes with. I mean, I guess it's just part of it,
Yeah, it definitely does come with the territory, and I mean, it's tough. It's a tough kind of lifestyle that we choose to live as poker players, and I felt bad. Like I said, there was that spot, when I was in Florida, and then when I was in Vegas this summer. I mean, I went back and forth. I made one trip, and I was out there for like 2 weeks, and I went back. I was back for like my a couple of events for my daughter, and then I went back for a week for the main event. But yeah, even during those 2 weeks that I was initially gone, I missed a couple of things. Like my oldest daughter had her first dance, at her school, and there was like one other event, I think, like an orchestra thing that I missed also. So it's like, yeah, like especially when you're playing live, it's that much tougher, because there's going to be those times when you're going to have to be on the road, and the family has to understand, man. And you have to have a really good people, really good family, understanding family behind you.
Yeah,
I'm already vaguely making my my Vegas plans next year, and of course there'll be at least 1 week I come back. But I'm also like, I wonder if I can get my son's mother to, if I get her a nice hotel room to hang out there for a week, so every morning I can, go to breakfast with him and hang out by the pool for a little bit and all that kind of thing. So.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's not a bad idea, man. I mean, if you can get him out there, and that way you can kill two birds in one stone, and he's not feeling like daddy's away for forever.
I'll tell him to bring his piggy bank too, in case I got to crack that in the middle of the night. Hopefully, it won't come to that. But.
You never know in Vegas, man. I mean, bro, you can run through money pretty quickly out there if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Poker and then the $11 Heinekens, both of them can get you in the rear.
Oh yeah. Oh man, yeah. Don't get me started. Like the price of me being out there, for that. I mean, and I'm sure obviously.
Sure.
Just the meals and everything on a daily basis. I mean, you get used to paying like $30 for breakfast, $30 for lunch. No big deal.
Right.
Especially if you're going to like All American Dave, the little booth in the back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like highway robbery over there.
They got a good burger there, but I don't know if it's worth $17 or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely not. But there were some spots where I didn't eat breakfast, and I started a tournament, and I don't want to miss any hands. I'm like, fuck, now I got to go pay for this $20 burger, whatever. It's just.
I know Carlos has no room in the Knitmobile, but there might be room under the Knitmobile. And he won't notice if you slide in there and sleep at night. So that's part of my plan, my escape plan next summer too. But
yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
So what else you got around the corner, man? Any other travel, or you gonna just do Florida and then get back to the cash grind?
Yeah, man. I mean, the main thing the main couple of things that I have coming up are Florida and then Borgata. In September is a WPT coming up there. It's interesting because I recently met with a guy last week who had kind of a side work opportunity for me that was like hard for me to it was too good for me to pass up. So I'm going to be like starting in a couple of weeks once I get back from Florida, doing some software work, some consulting for his company on the side. And he's a guy that I met through poker. He's totally understanding of the fact that I'm on the tournament grind, I'm on the cash game grind, and that's my thing. So it's not even like a normal job kind of situation where you got to be there for a certain amount of hours. He's like, yo, if you got to take off a couple of weeks or not take a project for a couple of weeks, because you're traveling for a tournament, then just don't take a project. It's no big deal. So So yeah, so that's going to be starting for me. But yeah, beyond that, yeah, September there's going to be Borgata. I'm playing the WPT there for sure. And then immediately after that WPT there's like the first ever WPT at Maryland Live. So I think I'm gonna travel down there for that as well. It's literally like the day after the Borgata ends, the WPT at Maryland starts. So I think I'm gonna play that one also.
Oh, it might be jumping ahead. Steve said he was going to ask you if you could bring a hand in. Do you have one to discuss, or Steve and I will talk about poker all day. You'll have to go like, "Oh no, my computer's breaking down," and just slam it shut. You know, I can already tell you're too gentlemanly to say, "I'm sorry, guys, I got to go." But I don't know if you discuss one more hand or not. If you,
yeah. I mean, I have kind of a free day today. It doesn't happen that often. I'm kind of chilling out today. And the main thing you guys are keeping me from is my PlayStation 4. So,
okay.
You know, yeah, I can get to that. You know, a little bit. It's no big deal. But yeah, you know, there were a couple of hands actually from my PLO run last year. I mean, if you want to jump into, you know.
Oh yeah, let's actually get some high level shit here instead of this 1 cent, 2 cent stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean.
I was playing PLO for walnuts with my wife when I. let's talk real PLO here. Okay, sorry.
We'll stop betting pencil erasers and talk some real stuff.
Yeah, man. So yeah, basically, these hands were at the final table. And this was actually like the fourth hand of the final table. I remember this is a six-handed tournament, so we're. So obviously, you know, we're six-handed. You expect things to play a little bit looser, but interestingly enough, like the vibe and the general flow of the game, especially at the final table, was fairly tight. You know, there were huge pay jumps. I mean, you know, so obviously people taking that into account. So anyway, the blinds were at 12K, 24K. And there's a guy, Brant Hale. I played with him from day one of the tournament. We were at the same table day one. You know, solid, aggressive player. He's under the gun, which effectively six-handers is hijack. He raises to 56K. The cutoff calls, the button calls, the small blind, which was Phil Laak, calls, and I call in the big blind with ace of hearts, 9 of clubs, 8 of diamonds, and the 7 of hearts.
Okay, ace of hearts, 9 of clubs.
Yeah, 8 of diamonds.
8 of diamonds.
And 7 of hearts.
7 of hearts. Okay.
Which I mean, pre-flop, well, just to let you know, I had 627,000 to start the hand. So I was like, at that point in the tournament, I think I was maybe 4 out of 6, maybe 5 out of 6 to start the hand. It's about 26 big blinds. But you know, given the action and we're like 5 ways, I mean, it's a pretty easy defend with that kind of a hand.
Sure.
So yeah, the flop comes out Jack of Hearts, 10 of Spades, 2 of Hearts. So
Jack of Hearts, 10 of Spades, 2 of Hearts?
Yes.
Okay, so you've got the nut flush draw.
Yep.
You've got an open ender.
Yeah, I have.
And Gutch? No. Yeah, open ender. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I have the straight draw. I have and the nut flush draw. At this point, you know, given my stack size, even though it's the shitty end of the straight draw, I mean, I'm still pretty much looking to get it in. At this point, I mean, if I was deeper, I'd probably play a little bit more carefully. So anyway, so Laak in the small blind, he had about like 1.3 mil, I believe, to start the hand. He checks. I lead out for 220K. And I'm leaving myself with about 3 and change, like 351, I believe, behind.
Right. So you bet about 80% pot or something. I guess 220 is something.
Yeah, if I'm doing the math right,
almost a pot size bet.
280s in the pot, and then you lead out for 220. If I know how to add, okay.
That's exactly what it was. So yeah, roughly, like I said, about 80%. I mean, I'm essentially committing myself, especially given my stack size. I'm only leaving myself with 351 behind. So, the table knows, there's pretty much nothing I'm folding to.
Yeah, the kid's going to play for a stack. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. So it folds around to the button. This guy, Corey Kilpatrick, another good solid player. I think he had won a bracelet earlier in that summer, if I'm not mistaken. So he has 1.2 mil to start the hand. He calls. Laak tanks. He tanks. He asks the dealer, right, how much would it be if I bet the maximum? He does the whole Phil Laak kind of, funny voice kind of thing and whatnot. And he decides to pot it. I snap. And then it goes around to Corey, who he tanks for a long time, and he mucks his hand, which I later on found out was a ridiculous wrap. He before we go on to the results, he mucked 8-9 Queen Jack with no flush draw. So on a Jack 10X flop, any card bigger than a 7 that doesn't pair the board gives him a straight. So I mean, it was he had a pretty big laydown.
That's a bad laydown though, isn't it?
I don't know. I mean, given the action, he's got to figure that at least one of us has hearts. And some of his
right. Okay, that's right.
His outs are tainted. Yeah.
Yeah, some of his outs are dead.
The other one has a top set or something, and yeah.
Yeah, and it's totally possible that one of us could have some sort of straight draw, which I had, which blocks some of his straight outs as well. So I mean, it's
that's
not,
true. Yeah.
Yeah, given the action, I don't think it's the worst fault at all, and also given the fact that again the pay jumps, were pretty large, and if he calls and loses there to Laak, he's was he out? He's essentially out of the tournament. I think he might have had Laak covered by maybe like, I don't know, 50K or 100K or something like that. But he's essentially
2 big blinds or something.
Yeah, he's essentially done. Like should he lose the hand? So given all of those factors, I don't think it's necessarily the worst fold. But I just thought that just the fact that he was able to make that fold was pretty interesting.
Is there such a thing as a PLO ICM calculator? I guess there's got to be, right?
A PLO ICM calculator.
I don't know how to. I'm just looking that this guy ended up finishing third for $217,000. Where sixth place paid $66K. So I guess it was a good fold. He made $150K with that fold.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, if he's wrong, it's a huge. I mean, how often do you get to make folds that make you that much money?
Right.
So anyway, so Laak shows down Ace Jack 10 7 with 2 clubs. It was the Jack 7 of clubs. So he has top 2, and which, I mean, we can talk about his play. I mean, there were some guys that I heard afterwards were a little bit critical of him potting it and putting his whole stack in with top 2 against on a super wet or pretty wet board like that. But I don't know. I actually don't mind that. I mean, he got Corey to fold a monstrous wrap, and he gets it in heads up against a shorter stack with top 2 against and he ended up having decent equity. I was a favorite in that spot. I was like 56%, even though I didn't even have a pair. I was 56% in that spot with just my draws. But he still got it in.
But taking Corey's chips out of there, he probably only needs 35% equity to make that a profitable spot, though, right, or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he's getting him bad for half his stack. I'm just saying with the dead money in there, he's getting 2-1 or something. I don't know. I can't do it off the top of my head, but.
Yeah. Considering the dead money and obviously it was 5-way pre-flop also, there's a lot of dead money there. So I mean, I don't think it was bad at all. Like getting half his stack in there, and I mean, yeah, he ended up being slightly behind, but I don't think it was a bad ISO raise. I'd be more inclined to do it in a cash game than I would in a tournament because obviously there's more ICM things that you got to consider, obviously. But like in a vacuum, I don't think it's the worst ISO, at all. So anyway, so the turn came a deuce of clubs. And then the river came a 7 of diamonds to give me the straight.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, give me the straight. And
Steve is excited. Steve, we kind of already knew the result there.
Yeah,
he was going to win that hand there.
I guess so. Yeah. I just kept thinking, I'm all 7 queen heart, 7 queen heart. Come on.
How would that change? Maybe you wouldn't call if you had rather than the ace of hearts, but the king of hearts. Would you have called pre-flop, and would you have gotten it when you played the same way post-flop with both the straight and the flush draw? You think, or
okay? So yeah, if it's the king of hearts, I probably still call pre, just because I'm just getting such an insane price. Being in 5 ways, and yeah, probably see the flop. Post-flop, yeah,
hard to get away. Hard to get away from that. Still, I would think. Yeah.
Yeah, still hard. Still very hard to get away. I'd probably do still play it the same way. And I mean, if somebody has higher hearts, God bless them. But it's unlikely that you're going to run into that. More times than not, obviously, you're not going to run into that. So, I'd probably just take my chances in that spot, in a vacuum. Now, again, in game, maybe I think, if somebody has a higher flush, they could, that this could be costing me a lot of money. And, in game, maybe I end up making a slightly different decision, but like in a vacuum, thinking about it now, I think the right thing to do is to just play it the same way that I played it.
Yeah, that's an interesting, I guess it's poker. You get tough calls anywhere, but even more than no limit hold'em, I would think Omaha. It's just to range 2 people.
Yeah. The other way to consider playing it, and that's in both that king high spot and even in my spot. You could consider just checking around, to the razor, but and then seeing if maybe it takes a stab and then coming over the top. A check raise is fine there also, but I don't know. I feel like five way, especially considering the way that table had been playing, unless somebody has like a set or something like that. You see Phil Laak did with top 2, he didn't bet out. So unless somebody has like maybe top set or something like that, most likely it's going check around, and then I'm giving, free cards out and I'm not getting my stack in on the flop. So yeah, I think the way I played is probably optimal, but considering check raising, it's something to consider.
Might have played if you checked, Corey probably still would have bet, and then Phil still would have raised, so that would have been a weirder spot for you, I think.
Yeah, that definitely would have been a tougher spot, with a check and a raise. Then I have to consider there could be, one of these guys, which Corey had, a better straight draw than me. Obviously I have hearts locked up, but, then honestly, if that happens and I see that action, I might even consider, if it goes like maybe to, I don't know, check and then maybe, the initial raiser raises or C bets, maybe Corey pops it, maybe he re-raises and Laak maybe calls or something like that, I might even consider folding, because at that point I'm thinking my straight outs are no good and all I'm really drawing to are hearts, and there could be somebody else in the pot that has hearts, so it's less likely that a heart's going to come out.
You got 7 outs rather than 9, yeah.
Yeah, so in that spot I might even consider folding, So yeah, it's funny, just based off of those, little variables and decisions, how it can completely change the complexity of your decisions, in the hand.
Can I ask you what piece of yourself you had in this tournament?
Yeah, I had 95 or 98%.
Wow.
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Nice. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I actually didn't even tell you guys the story of how I got into this tournament, because I came out to Vegas. It was my first WSOP that I had ever played. First time in Vegas. In Vegas for poker in particular. And so I get out there. I think I might have bought maybe, I don't know, 7-8K with me out there. And this was a 5K PLO tournament, right? So yeah, interesting story of how I ended up in there. So I got out there. My intention was to play
stealing money from a hooker, man, to get a pay in. That's just wrong. Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll take it.
Why'd you have to blow me up like that, man? Just because I told you that in the background, I'm trying to give the clean version of the story. But yeah, so I went out there with the intention of pretty much playing just a 1500 PLO, just to kind of get my feet wet with like my first WSOP event, and maybe play some side events, some dailies, and play some cash. And, when I got out there, I was in total fanboy, starstruck mode, man. I was like taking pictures of like Vanessa Selps and every freaking, person I saw on TV. So yeah, to make a long story short though, I bust out of the 1500, PLO. I play some cash the next day. I make maybe like 4K. I end up in a 3K no limit hold'em, which I quickly busted out of also. Excuse me. And so I busted out of that, and I think it was either later that day or the next day. I'm playing cash, and I run it up to maybe like 9K or something like that, or for like a 1K buy-in. And they're announcing that they have these satellites for the 5K PLO that's happening the next day. And, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I just made freaking, 9K, I'm like, my flight is like the next day. Like I had no plans on playing that tournament. So I was supposed to leave, the following day. But I'm like, screw it. I'll just, take a shot. And if I win this, satellite, I'll make a decision about whether to jump in. So I play a satellite, like an $800 or $900 6-man satellite. I get heads up. 4-1 chip deficit. I lose. I say, fuck it. I'm going to take another shot. And I win the next satellite that I enter in. And I end up playing the 5K PLO, off of like an $1,800 buy-in and finishing second.
Very nice.
Well,
yeah.
What's the lesson, Steve? I've been trying to tell you this for months now.
Go big or go home.
Go down to your last nickel if you have to. Poverty is irrelevant. Run good's always coming. No.
Yeah, I mean, what helped me a lot. I mean, if I was playing for a living at that point, because I had the job at that point, and a nice, 6-figure, software job and whatnot. So, this was all like side money for me. So if I was playing for a living, maybe I make a different decision, and maybe I end up never being in that spot and never being where I am today. It's interesting.
Yeah, that was definitely a game changer, finishing that high in that tournament. That's cool.
So you mentioned you got in some big cash games and lost a little more than you should have, but otherwise, did you what'd you do? Did you invest some of this money? Do you own your home?
Yeah, I do own my home.
Okay. Very nice.
So I mean, a lot of there's a portion that I put on the side just for particularly since I got relieved of the job. There's a portion that I have on the side that's just kind of like, all right, if I need to dip into it for anything home related and whatnot, like just in case if I have a bad cash run, I can always dip into that and it's immediately available. But obviously there were taxes, and I did my damnedest to get as many write-offs and shit as possible to reduce the tax hit, but
sure.
It was a pretty sizable tax hit, and I have invested a bit of it as well. I've been working with a couple of guys who got me into a couple of things, so I'm trying to be smart with the money, man, and not be one of these guys that ends up broke in a year or two, and I'm trying to practice decent enough bankroll management. That's why I like all these big tournaments. You hear me playing, I'm going to play this 5K and whatnot. Like I'm selling.
I was going to say, yeah, it sounds like you're doing well with that part of it.
Yeah. I'm definitely trying to just be sensible. And, I guess there's a reason for everything. There's a reason why I got into poker in my 30s, as opposed to like my 20s, because if this was in my 20s, I probably would have, pissed all the money away by now. But,
sure.
Now I'm further along in life. I have kids. I got other things to think about. So, I know I got to be a lot more responsible with money when I come across it.
Yeah.
Steve, do you have any more questions, or can we relieve this man of his boredom and let him go play some PlayStation?
Yeah, I think we should let him
Call of Duty is waiting, man.
Yeah. We should let him hit the video games. But do you have any plugs you want to put in, Darius?
I don't know. Like I'm not sponsored for anything. I'm not really selling anything, so I don't know. Like I guess I don't really have any plugs. I mean, definitely would give some shout outs to some people that have helped me along the way in poker. Like Dave Fox, great pro out here on the East Coast, and Kyle Bowker. He's made some great runs in the main as well. He's a pretty well known pro as well. So
that's a weird dude, isn't it? Isn't he? Has he ever smiled?
You know what?
I don't know him, but I played with him a couple of times, and then I was talking. I played. Who was I talking to afterwards? I'm like, "What's the deal with that Kyle Bowker, man? He's got the greatest poker face ever." He's like, "That's not a poker face. That's what he looks like."
That is pretty much what he looks like, man. And it's funny too, because when I first met him, like I didn't know what to make of the guy. Like it was pretty hard to. I'm like, yo, is this guy like just like a jerk, Like what's going on? Because he was just always like beyond just being stone face. Is like you make a joke. People would make jokes, and then he'd just be sitting there like, like stone face, and it's like, all right,
he's a real barrel of laughs at the table. That I remember.
Yeah, I'm like, what's up with this guy? But after a while, after getting to know him, man, like he's one of the coolest guys, that I've met, and he's been super helpful to me, like him, Dave, and a couple other guys, in terms of like whenever there are hands, like these are the kind of guys, these are the guys that I can just run to. And run hands by, and they'll tell me if you fucked up, they'll tell you immediately, you fucked up, man. That was a bad pre-flop, decision and whatnot. And having guys like that, on my side has been real helpful, man. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, man. Well, I might be making it out East Coast for that Borgata thing there too. I don't know. I was looking at that on the schedule, so I might see you soon.
Nice, yeah. If you come out here, definitely hit me up. We'll have a beer and shoot the shit and whatnot.
Absolutely.
Look forward to it.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Darius.
Thank you, guys, man. It was really a fun time. I was honored to be on here, and I'd be very happy to be on any other time in the future. Appreciate it.
Okay. Well, thank you. And you can contact us at HUP Podcast or at Mike Snyderman, headsuppokerpodcast.blogspot.com for our blog. You can download all our episodes there. Facebook, Heads Up Poker Podcast, and you can email us, headsuppokerpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in, and here is your weekly motivational speech.
Imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghost of the ideas, the dreams, the abilities, the talents given to you by life. And then you, for whatever reason, you never acted on those ideas. You never pursued that dream. You never used those talents. We never saw your leadership. You never used your voice. You never wrote that book. And there they are standing around your bed looking at you with large, angry eyes saying, we came to you, and only you could have given us life. Now we must die with you forever. The question is, if you died today, what ideas? What dreams? What abilities? What talents? What gifts? Will die with you.